Alright, so this is the build I'm thinking about playing for the next upcoming season. It's Flay focused with Rip Blood's Blood Tether. Like, the entire point is applying a crap ton of bleeds onto the target, and I don't want to use the axe that reduces bleed duration because I want to stack as many bleeds as I can for Blood Bond. This is going to be the majority of the damage of the build. This should also receive a 200% damage increase because of Blood Reverie. We'll be attacking 3-4 times a second and applying about 1,000 bleeds or more per second based on just kind of how I've looked at it. We're pushing intelligence to 100 so that our Chaos Bolts will always use Rip Bloods, so that's two additional Rip Blood, or that's an additional Rip Blood with every time we cast. We'll get 2 Rip Bloods, or like we'll get a Rip Blood every 2 seconds from this, and we'll get 3 Rip Bloods per 2 seconds from this. So it's essentially 2 Rip Bloods a second. So that kind of balances out. So it's like it's an additional 1 Rip Blood per second. We use this to stack all types of chances on hit. So we have poison rings, we have a poison belt. This also gives us melee attack speed. Our blessings, we go ignite, bleed, frailty, frostbite, shock, just to have more chances to bleed essentially. On our necklace we take most of our stuff is about mana and melee attack speed, and because we want as much mana as possible, because for every 100 mana we get a chance to cast Chaos Bolt, which is going to consume a lot of mana, but we have a lot of mana anyway, and we have decent mana regen. Plus, in our passives, we're getting the Warlock one, where we get a chance to gain mana on hit, which is kind of nice. And we're always cursing because we'll have Flay applying Corrosive Slash, and then it's cast Chaos Bolt, and then because the target's already cursed, Chaos Bolt will cast Blood Curse. So we get Blood Curse, we don't even have to put it on our bar. Blood Curse is giving us Mark for Death, and because Chaos Bolt's hitting 8.5 times per attack, so like 25 times a second, we don't care about the duration. We're getting Skeleton Vanguard from this to draw attention, as well as Skeleton Vanguards will hit the enemy, that's more bleeds that'll pop onto them. We also take the passive tree thing that gives us Skeleton Vanguards here, chance on kill, and it makes our Skeleton Vanguards have plus 100% bleed chance. This is shared bleed and frostbite, which is essentially just bleed chance. This is shared bleed chance, so that means the Skeleton Vanguards will be applying lots of bleeds every time they pop out. For passives, we take this for getting ward per second, because ward per second is going to be our big kind of defensive material, or defensive thing. This, which getting health regen, max endurance threshold, damage staggered from bosses, damage over time will go directly to our health and leave our ward alone, so the bosses will hit the ward will take the big hits from the bosses. We have massive health regen, our health is capped at 50%. We get movement speed because we have a dagger, we get more damage because we have an axe. We're using this to get more ward per second based on our missing health, and it's 5% of our missing health, so that's going to be a lot of ward per second. This is really powerful. If we had more points, we'd put more points here. I might find a way to do something. Our mana regen gives us 50% of our mana regen, gives us armor. I like this because it's kind of helpful. Might be more important to put points into this because every point is 15% increased damage, and we don't have as much increased damage in this build. For Warlock, we get the Blood Overload, an additional Rip Blood cast. We get more mana per intelligence, which is really good because we stack intelligence. And we get the mana gain on hit. And this is kind of where the end of the build would be. A lesser version before you kill Aberoth would look more like this, using woven flesh, like 1 LP items. This ring might not be worth using until you get 2 LP, at least 2 LP. Might be better just to go a gold ring and focus on getting more endurance. Because this version of the build does not have as much endurance, and because I needed the elemental resistance on the rings. So if I swap out one of these rings here for like a gold ring, I'll have more resistances and I'll have more endurance overall. And then one of the LP can be to endurance to give us endurance cap, which is what I think I might end up doing. Or swapping this belt out to the Brewmaster's belt, but I think this belt is better than the Brewmaster's belt overall. This is what the build would look like when you transition into getting Carrion Creation and get some of these legendaries. When you just transition to Flay, it would look like something like this, just using a bleed axe and a spell damage dagger, and just as much bleed chance as you can get. The blessings would be changed to give you more resistances to balance out, which is really good for leveling. And before you get Flay, I would actually use Bone Golem and Summon Skeleton and try to get the doublet of Onus Tool to get more chance to bleed for the minions, because your minions are going to be stacking up bleeds. And this version of the build is just Rip Blood spam, and it's using marrow shards to apply more bleeds and to heal and give you mana. Rip Blood is healing you and basically getting marrow shards, as well as putting on Blood Bond, having a chance to put the blood splatter. Bone Curse you have to self-cast, but it makes all your minions get 75% more bleed chance. It gives you Mark for Death. Carrion Golem is giving you health and tanking things. Summon Skeletons are all archers, and they're just there to apply more bleeds. They're just applying bleeds from a distance. And this is a caster version of the build. And going back, this is the weaker version, and this is how it would look at the very start. I would start with Rip Blood, and the second skill, I would kind of only pass it, go to the Vitality and here, with Armor as my next thing, and then I would go to Warlock next. I wouldn't push Lich first. Go to Warlock and get more damage over time. The Rip Blood, Blood Overload, and then this, because that'll help you clear a lot whenever you get the bleed things. Then we have the Soul Stealer, and then I'd push into Lich, get this, and Skeletal Vanguards. I might actually push Lich first to get Skeletal Vanguards. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, that's how the build looks right now, and this is where it would start at. For skills, the first thing I would do is Rip Blood, followed by Marrow Shards. At level 20, get Bone Golem, and then push into Summon Skeletons. Because Bone Golem will help keep you alive early on. And the last thing I would get is Bone Curse. It's not as important. Anyways, the planners are in the description, as well as the loot filter I made, which is just basically the loot filter I did last season. And it's easy to change, so I'm waiting to add sounds and stuff to it. But anyways, hope you enjoy if you like the build.